What benefits have we demonstrated in our clinical studies with X-49? Well, there's some pretty significant ones. First of all, we've shown that X-49 is an excellent way to build lean muscle, regardless of age. So you'll see some examples of this in our studies. We had people that were in their 70s that were using X-49, and the people in their 70s were doubling their strength in 60 days. So this is a really awesome alternative to anabolic steroids or testosterone for building lean muscle. Obviously, if we're building muscle, we're also going to be increasing strength. I'm going to show you some of the results from these studies. But as it turns out, surprise, surprise, when you build muscle, you also gain strength and stamina. And again, regardless of age. We also saw phenomenal improvements in stamina. So we put people on an exercise bike. We wanted to measure how fast they could pedal, how far they could go, and I'll show you those results. But we found even within the first week of using X-49, people were starting to see improvements in their strength and stamina. And so from the perspective of marketing this product, you can give people samples and expect that most people will see results their very first week. We, of course, would like people to use it for the full month before they come to any conclusion. So like carnosine, which is an antioxidant that contains alanine, AHK is also found in the heart, and there's probably going to be some cardiovascular benefits to this that are rather significant. They're things that we can't make claims about, but as you saw just a moment ago, that AHK induces repair of the endothelial lining, so this would indicate that it might reduce our risks in certain areas of life, if you know what I mean. Okay, so staying on the health and wellness claims, let's take a look at some of the things that happen now in this first study, and we followed this up with a second study, but this is representative. So over a period of 60 days in this test group, which were people over the age of 40, and a number of people in the group were in their 60s and 70s, the number of sit-ups they could do increased by over 70% in 2 months using X-49 only. This is X-49 only at the moment. Number of push-ups, over 80% improvement in 2 months in an older population. Number of squats, over 47% improvement. Bicep curl strength increased over 100% in just 2 months of using X-49 only. And grip strength increased by about 75% in only 2 months of using just X-49. So this really begs the question, what happens if we combine it with X-39, right? So what happens when we combine these two? X-49 only versus the combination of the two. We saw on the number of calories burned, over a 90% improvement. Now, we have a piece of technology that we purchased just for these studies that does a full body scan, and I'm going to show you an image from the study so you can see how that translates into change in body shape in 2 months. Bike top speed increased by 27% versus 22% with the combination. The distance that was traveled was also increased by the combination of the two, or X-49 only. Now, we were speaking about health of the heart. There's a relaxation response that occurs with using both X-39 and X-49. There's an improvement in endothelial function, and this translates into not only a decrease in the pulse rate, but a change and improvement in blood pressure. So here we see, just using X-49 only versus the combination of two, the pulse rate comes down. So what our data is showing is that both X-39 and X-49 have an effect on our overall body, but what they do is they work in different ways at improving health. X-49, mostly in this example, is focusing on our muscle mass. And as a result of getting an increase in lean muscle, we also see corresponding decrease in body fat. And this is not a fat-burning mechanism per se that we would usually think of. So after 2 months of using X-49, people find out not only have they gained more strength, stamina, and lean muscle, but the amount of body fat also reduces. Okay, so here's one of the images from the study. This is a fellow that is 74, and I want you to take a look at a couple of the points here. The most important one is the health risk. You can look at the body fat percentage where he started out at 37.5, which is not so good. But what this equipment does is it calculates risk for things like cardiovascular disease, and then it just puts it into a simple percentage. So at this body fat relative to muscle mass, he's 53% higher than ideal in body composition. Now this is what happens after using X-49 just for 2 months. I'm going to put those images side by side so you can see them. Okay, so at age 74, not only was he able to get a reduction in body fat, but look what happened with the health risk now. 53% to 20%. So this is very much in keeping with the goals of the company. We want to not only improve people's overall body shape, but improve their health. That's ultimately the goal. Okay, so some other interesting things here too. So I think it's going to turn out that we're going to be able to make the claim of increasing bone density, but we'll see. So don't go out and say that in the marketing and advertising. Let us finish out some of our studies and see how it turns out. But it's certainly looking pretty good. One of the things that came out of the study as well that you'll definitely see when you go out and exercise with this is you will not get as sore when you're exercising. Your body will be able to take more resistance and stress, and you're going to recover much faster after exercise. This is also as a prerequisite of saying, again, get your diet in line, making sure that you're taking adequate amounts of healthy protein and fat, and using this to support a muscle building and strength and stamina routine. But generally, that said, people in these studies have found they recover more quickly when using this product. I think we've already covered how X-49 supports the health of the heart, so I want to get into one other thing here, more specifically is on blood pressure. So we had first saw this in clinical studies that we did with X-39, and it appears there's a number of things that are going on here. One is that the cardiovascular system itself seems to be go through some repair, and there's also a relaxation response in the autonomic nervous system. So we're not 100% sure why we see decreases in blood pressure, but we have certainly measured it and we've obtained statistical significance with it. By the way, if someone had high blood pressure, I would not be using only this product for reduction in blood pressure. I would be combining it, again, with a healthy diet and a number of nutritional supplements like pomegranate extract, vitamin K2, that we know are going to help to clean out the arterial walls.